Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle, bicycle, bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride it where I like. You say black, I say white. You say
Welcome back. Bill Kelly Show, 900 CHML. You're watching on Cable 14. Well, the 20th annual Paris to Ancaster Bicycle Race is happening on April 14th, just a couple of weeks from now. I got to tell you something. If you've never seen pictures of this or attended the event or actually participated in this, this is something to see. John Thorpe is the race co-founder and the organizer, and he joins us here in studio, along with the world-famous Curt Harnett, who is a former Olympian and who's participating in the race again this year. Guys, thanks for coming in. It's good to see you here.
Hey, Bill, thanks. And I am world famous in my own mind.
Well, this is it. Yeah. Listen, you've been on television, you've won races, Pan Am, Olympics. I mean, you've done it all. I loved your quote, though, after your last race when you just said, time to get a haircut and get a real job.
Obviously, I've succeeded at that, haven't I?
And here you are back racing again. So.
Yeah, I did get a haircut, and that real job,
and
I'm still searching for.
You got the blazer, too. You got the blazer from CBC, so, I mean, everything was golden then, right? Talk to me about this, John, about the course itself and the race. I mean, this is not for people that are not totally familiar with road racing. May think, oh yeah, we saw the World Championships here a few years ago here in Hamilton. This is not just a race. This is an endurance test, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little ways from road racing. We've tried to scope out the toughest dirt roads, gravel roads, rail trails. We go through a bunch of private property. Closed road allowances as well, so there's some pretty interesting parts. It's quite a test of endurance. 70K is a longer race.
Curt, it's almost as if they said, okay, let's find the most obstructive point, distance between point A and point B, and let's race there.
Yeah, like why do what human nature, forces us to do, and find the path of least resistance? They've taken it to the extreme on the other side, and as John will tell you, trying to emulate a famous race over in Europe called Paris-Roubaix. That hit some of the toughest cobbled roads in northern France. They're trying to do the same thing here, and they've put together this fantastic program as a way to they call it the VIP experience, but it's a fundraiser for the Milton Velodrome that's going to be part of the Pan Am Games coming up in 2015.
Should have been here, but anyway, I digress.
They put together this wonderful package that brought together some of Canada's past and current Olympians in the sport of cycling, from Tara Whitten all the way down to Gordon Singleton and Stephen Bauer, as a way to raise money for this facility. And when they started engaging people like myself, that road racing was not where I made my name. It's I did it on a velodrome, but a natural connection. They started showing me pieces of the course. And again, this is the 20th anniversary, and every time they tell me more and more about it, it's going, what the hell did I get myself involved in here? But it really is it's an exciting opportunity to not only raise awareness and funds for the velodrome, but get out there and get some great spring fresh air in our lungs.
But it's a different approach to racing, though, from what you're used to.
Well, and the beauty is that it's an all-comers type of program, and again, to just alleviate the bottlenecks that occur, they have this whole process of waves of riders being launched out, and our VIP riders, along with the Olympians, will go off in various waves. And this package is it's available. All the information, parisancaster.ca is where you can find all the information on this. But it's a really unique opportunity. But it's more of a let's go out and test where you are at this time of year. It's not really a full-on organized licensed race. It's more one of those things where the idea is to get all people that can come out, try it for the first time, see if they like it. They've got a shorter event, 40K, that for people that may not feel that they've got the fitness level for the 70-kilometer ride. And really, again, the idea is getting as many people there as possible to raise awareness for what is becoming a very popular sport here.
Yeah. I want to talk about the popularity in just a second, but let me get back to the course itself. And the difficulty with this thing too, and part of it is the calendar, John. I mean, it's April.
Oh, the weather is a huge factor.
We were wandering around on Saturday with T-shirts on, and now it's snowing. I mean, this is ridiculous. You don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next. It's very unpredictable, of course, even into the middle of April. Case in point, last year, I remember you guys came in here and talked about the race, and it was going to be wonderful. And yeah, it's off course, so there could be some bumps, but it rained.
Oh, last year was an interesting year because it did rain at the start of the race. It's never rained at the start of the race before in 20 years, or 19 years last year it was. It's rained during the race and before it, but never at the start.
But this was rain.
It rained.
I mean, there was guys collecting 2 of every kind of animals. It was raining hard.
Yeah, well, it was. The funny thing about last year was, although it rained, it was not a cold day, and people came in from the course. They finished. They were covered from head to toe in gray mud or brown mud, whatever they happened to find. But the only bright spot was a big smile on their faces. Everybody finishing the race had a great day out there. It was just sort of like being allowed to be a kid and play in the mud again.
Yeah, the smiles were easily discernible too, because everything else was brown.
Yeah.
I was covered in the stuff. But you can't prepare for this, though, can you? I mean, the weather obviously is going to be a factor in this. There's going to be groundwater. There's going to be small lakes actually in some parts of the course. These guys don't know what they're going to run into. No, the weather is a big challenge, and we monitor the course the week ahead of the event. So we have changes in the course up until the last minute. So up until the day before, sometimes even the day of, we may include or not include a particular section. We have to be careful with the private landowners that we have that we don't damage property. So there may be landowners who've said that we can use their property, but if it happens to be a very wet day and we're going through a farmer's field, we might decide that that might be better used next year than this year. My partner in the venture, Tim Ferrer, has gone around. He talks to landowners throughout Brant County and Hamilton, gets permission to use the properties. And then when you talk about developing the course, he'll get the permission to use somebody's property. They'll say, yeah, we'd love to have you here. Well, the problem with that sometimes is we got to get there. So then we have to figure out a way through roads or trails or whatever to get to their property to use it as well. So as a result, the course this year is 10 kilometers longer than last year. It's a 70-kilometer race. How do you decide on the course? I mean, Paris to Ancaster, there's a nice highway, by the way, that will get you there. Nice and smooth. Curt, the sort of stuff you'd be used to riding on. There's a rail trail that was there for many, many years. I know a lot of cyclists probably use that. It's a little challenging because there's a slight grade, but it's a rail trail, so it's not a big grade.
Yep.
That's for the wimps, though. You decide, no, we're going for the heavy-duty stuff.
Well, we do use a couple of rail trails. The Brantford to Cambridge is at the start of the course. And
that's so they can catch their breath.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then the Hamilton-Brantford is used for part of the course as well. There's also some closed rail lines that are now owned by private landowners, and we've got permission from the landowners to use those sections. So we've tied those together with some old farm lanes, conservation area, gravel roads, and come up with this course that sort of zigzags. And like you say, it's not 70 kilometers from Paris to Ancaster. It's probably more like 40. But we don't take the direct route.
Who enters this thing?
Anybody. Okay, it goes from 7-year-olds to 70-year-olds. The interesting thing about the event, one of the things in my mind, is that it gives the opportunity for all these people to ride the same course at the same time as Olympians like Curt, but also current U.S. national cyclocross champion Jonathan Page will be racing. So Mike Garrigan, who's our 3-time winner, will be at the front of the pack.
Mike's been on the show in the past,
Sue Palmer, who's a local Olympian, will be riding as well, and she's won the race I think a couple of times and run into bad luck a few other times with flats or things like that she could have wanted. So it's neat that the average cyclist gets to complete the course and have the same sort of experience, slightly different experience maybe than the elite riders do.
Yeah, but it's the same as being invited to run in the Boston Marathon course. I mean, you don't obviously it's only elite runners can do this, but this is open to everybody. And like I say, you're sharing the course with guys like Curt and so many others.
Yeah, that's right.
In fact, my preference will be to be at the back sharing the experience with some of those all-comers than trying to race people like Sue Palmer-Comar up some of those rides.
How do you prepare for something like this, though? I mean, this is like I say, you're used to the velodrome situation, to the track, or even to those are familiar with road racing. This is through hill, through dale. A number of things can happen. The bike could get wrecked pretty easily. I mean, this is really an endurance test, isn't it?
Trust me, Bill. I've been up all night trying to, for many nights. I have no friggin' idea how to prepare for something like this. But that's, I think, one of the beauties. And for me, it's a motivation to get some good spring riding in. I host some rides over in Europe in May, and of course, there's a big event that I'm involved with on September 8th in the Halton Hills area. That I'm the Epic Tour of Halton that I want to be good and ready for. So no better way to launch off the spring season than going to play in the mud for 70 kilometers with some fantastic people.
You got to be pleased, though, that cycling in general seems to be back on the front burner again. I mean, there's a period of time where just people seem to have forgotten about it. I don't know if it was the announcement of the Pan Am Games that got us talking about it again. But a lot of folks are talking about it. Events are starting to pop up all over the place, and it's got to be great news for the sport.
It's been very exciting over the last few years to watch it grow, as we've been watching it grow, and you know, the industry is. And
you started actually by accident. I mean, this was really a training regimen for your hockey career, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and it was through the leadership of a member of the community that got me engaged in the sport, and we need to and still experience those opportunities from coast to coast to coast. You know, it's really the grassroots swell that's happening there. It is one of those things where, you know, the idea of personal fitness, of the need to be to live a healthier, more active lifestyle, and people, you know, migrating from, you know, what they thought was running or some other sport that they needed to be involved in or engaged in, and recognizing they can't do that anymore. Or, you know, people, even golfers out there, you know, it's kind of, you know, cycling seen as the new golf, right? Where it's a bit of a gadget sport. There's a technical component to it that you have to invest some money into. You know, we're trying to make sure that the cost of is not a barrier for the sport. So there's a lot of people working in those areas. But ultimately, it's one of those neat little gadget sports where people were saying, rather than go spend 4 hours out on a golf course somewhere where I'm not necessarily getting in better shape and I'm only frustrating the crap out of myself, to getting out there and finding a way to actually excel and find a fitness level for themselves, or build a fitness level for themselves.
Yeah, I played for golf for a few years, and the worms I know at just about every course are happy that I haven't. The ball never got much of those. But it is an alternative. I mean, you know, as a guy who's had 2 knee replacements, you can't run forever. And at some point, the doc is going to say, look, have you ever thought of cycling? And because it doesn't have that pressure on the joints, on the hips and on knees, like you know, road racing or running would. And it's well, from listening to you guys and a number of other folks I know that have done this, it's infectious once you get started, isn't it?
Well, you talked about your knee replacements. What was the first thing the doctor told you to do? But get on a bike. You know, generating the circulation around those areas and doing those kinds of things. Cycling is a sport that does connect all sports. It's one of those things where I know many fellow Olympians that have gone on, and you know, they don't necessarily or can't continue their sport as they know it. So some of my friends who are divers don't go out on a Saturday afternoon and say, I'm going to go do a couple of, you know, backflips off the diving board just as a way of staying in shape. They've taken on, you know, take to a new sport, and that sport is increasingly becoming cycling. So it's really exciting for me to watch that growth happen as much as, you know, sort of the mainstream growth. There's just so many varying things. We were just talking a little bit before coming on air here about pretty much from the end of May through to the end of September, I'm going to be involved or engaged in a bike ride of some sort, raising money for some sort of program, or just a bunch of people out there trying to do some business development or connect. So it's really a sport that's taking off in a very, very aggressive way. And as a cyclist, as it's somebody that is close to my heart, with the facility coming in Milton Velodrome, it's only going to get better.
Let me do a short timeout. We'll come back with John and Curt in just a couple of seconds. This is the Bill Kelly Show on CHML and Cable 14. Okay, we're back. Bill Kelly Show, CHML, Cable 14. John Thorpe, co-founder of the Paris to Ancaster Bike Race coming up. Curt Harnett, of course, international champion, former Olympian, participating in the race. Jeff Bayani is with us, too, from Neworld Cycling in Burlington. Thanks for coming in, Jeff. Good to see you here. I want to get to you in just a couple of seconds. We've only got a few minutes left here. We've just talked about the popularity of racing, and an awful lot of folks, as Curt was mentioning, are just jumping into this. For the weekend cyclists, you know, the guys that want to get out and the women that want to get out there and get into this in their own way as part of a physical thing. What do you do? What kind of a bike do you get? I mean, you know, we're past the banana seats and the you know, what should I be getting now as a bike for a starter? For, you know, everybody wants to be the next Curt, but I mean, in the meantime, there's a transition here, isn't there?
Yeah. We live in a great area for cycling, and whether it's a mountain biking aspect or just touring or even road riding and road racing. We're really blessed in living in southwestern Ontario. And with our store, my experience has been that we get the whole gamut. We get fathers bringing in their sons, getting on their first road bike or on their first mountain bike, something they enjoy as a family sport, right up to somebody who's been bike riding and involved with racing and buying their top-of-the-line $10,000, $12,000 bike.
That's the thing that blew me away, Curt, when we had the World Championships here, the Canadians and the Worlds here in Hamilton a few years ago, was when you start talking to people in the sport, just how much they love this area. I mean, from a geological standpoint, the Southern Ontario, and especially here in the Hamilton, Burlington, Niagara area, is fabulous for this sort of thing, isn't it?
Some of the best bike riding in the world exists right in our own backyard. And as Jeff sort of alluded to, it's not only on the road, it's the off-road stuff and what we'll experience a little bit with Paris to Ancaster, but the escarpment is just such a natural terrain creator for some beautiful roads. I mean, sometimes we've got to deal with a little pothole here, the frost, the thaw frost, the thaw freeze cycle sometimes damages our roads in such a way. But even local communities, city councils, and the roads committees involved are recognizing that they at least need to start putting shoulders on the road a little bit more, make it a little bit safer for people to be out on their bikes. But then there is that access opportunity outside, and Jeff's store is the kind of store where somebody walks in off the street, totally green to the situation, saying, I see all these people out there riding the bikes and I want to get involved in the sport. The sales staff is seasoned to sit there and go, okay, well, what do you want to do with the bike? What is your objectives? What is the opportunity? They'll walk the customer through the steps. It's not about selling them an $8,000 bike that they don't need, because that'll just cause a bigger issue out there.
Those are the kind that end up sitting in the garage after about 6 months, aren't they? Because you get tired of it and it just sits there.
But we also need to make have people understand that it is an investment.
Okay, guys, for the stout of heart who want to get involved in this, John, the race is coming up, of course, on April the 14th. How can people get involved?
Best thing to go is to do is to go to our website, which is parisancaster.com, and all the information's there, registration, some pictures of past events and that sort of thing as well.
They can register online then.
That's
show
right.
up.
Yep.
At what time? Where do you start from?
We start from Green Lane Sports Fields in Paris, and there's maps on the website as well. We'll be picking up registration kits on the 13th, which is Saturday, up at Morgan Firestone Arena. 2 Saturdays from now, Morgan Firestone Arena. That'll be the last chance to register, subject to availability. And then the race is the 14th, and it'll start, as I say, in Paris, and then they ride back to Ancaster.
Gosh, great to have you on here, guys. Thanks so much for taking the time to come in here. Best of luck with the race.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks for your time.
Good to have you with
Bill.
us. The race is coming up on the 14th. Go to the website and get all the details about the Paris to Ancaster bike race. Back after the news, the Bill Kelly Show on CHML at Cable 14.